The Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
لا تنسون تتابعونا على Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I like to watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
Me gusta mirar fútbol en Michigan Soccer Network.
I watch soccer on Michigan Soccer Network.
I love watching soccer on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Back to Vitriol. He'll take a shot and he'll bear it. And then he'll fire it from Billows and it'll go in. Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one and that's going to go in. Oh, and both goals so far. He'll fire one and that's a wonderful save, Trinity. That's missed. Oh, it's Stone in the. He'll fire one now from distance and that is in. What a strike by Ben Maher. So we're continuing our college commitment interview series here, this time with Victoria Miller from the Michigan Jaguars. Recently signed her letter of intent to play her academic and athletic career at The Ohio State University. I am a Michigan Wolverine fan, so I guess that might be some. but either way, exciting times for you, Victoria. You're a junior at Country Day High School in Birmingham, Michigan. Welcome here to our commitment series.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're very, very welcome. So, we start the conversation off with, letting our viewers kind of get an idea of who Victoria Miller is. Obviously, based on what you sent to us and our conversations before we started recording this, you play in a lot of different sports. It's not just soccer. But so to talk a little bit about, tell us, who Victoria Miller is and what you're all about.
So who Victoria Miller is? Well, so I started playing soccer at 6 years old for a little indoor rec team. And then from there, as a 6-year-old, I started playing travel. And then from that point on, when you enter the whole club soccer, travel soccer thing so young, it sort of becomes your life. So, athletics are huge to me and huge in my family. I'm a big family person and food person. Nutrition's big to me. Fitness is big to me. So yeah.
Very, very cool. So, you started playing soccer at 6, indoor rec, like a lot of kids do, right? We were actually out here yesterday, the President's Day that was going on, and there was 100 kids playing, soccer camp here out at our facility where we're at. But when did you realize, hey, you know what? I could play at the next level.
Like in college?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably. Well, so I actually got scouted out by the junior Jaguars when I was playing for that rec team because we would play against them. And my parents sort of realized I'm pretty for not even practicing or anything, I'm pretty sort of good at this. So yeah. So then played with the Jags and then moved to Hawks and played with them for a little and then back to Jags, and it just sort of realized I can play at the next level.
I'm sure that it's unique to every single player where, it's hey, there's this moment where I realize that I'm good at this. And maybe there's an opportunity for me to play at another level. And your story, I think, is unique to yours. But then on the other side of this is that you're talking about going to Ohio State. You've committed to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that you were probably hit with a number of opportunities, not just at Ohio State. Ohio State's a Big Ten school. That's a big deal. Very good at soccer. What led you to Ohio State?
Oh my gosh. So pretty much everything, but Ohio State was my first visit ever. And so it probably shouldn't have been, because from that point on, my standards were really, really high because it was just, the facilities, the people, the team, the practice. It was just everything was so amazing, and it was like something that you think to yourself like, I could be a part of this. Like I want to be a part of this.
For sure.
Yeah, and just the coaches were like so personable, and it wasn't like you're on a visit, you have to like act like be a certain way, or you could just like be yourself and just have fun. And yeah.
No, that's really cool. And I've had this conversation now with a number of players from the
Mhm.
Jaguars who are interviewing as part of this process, and they all have a different kind of like look and take on
Yeah.
the process. There's when you first started looking at colleges, you're a junior in high school. You've committed, which is fantastic. A lot of players are committing when they're a senior. Some are even, I think, at that later stages of their sophomore season. It almost feels like now. But looking at it from this standpoint, what advice would you give to a freshman or a sophomore or even someone younger about the process of recruitment, and ultimately deciding on the college that they might go to?
I think you have to keep your options open. And I would just enjoy it. Like everyone asked me, oh my gosh, it must have been so stressful. I'm sure you're so glad it's over. But now it's kind of like and it's sort of stressful. Like now you know where you're going, you know what you're expected to do. Like you have to fulfill it. And I would just sort of enjoy the recruiting process. It can be, yeah, it's really stressful. It's, you know, if you're getting looks, you're not getting looks, you don't know what to do. But I would just just relax, reach out to, coaches and where you want to go. You have to reach out. And then just sort of build a relationship with the coaches from that point on.
Well, it's really good advice. It's really good advice. You're playing the Big Ten next year. Has that sunk in yet for you? Is that like something that you're like, wow, like, because there's a lot of leagues in this area. There's a Horizon League, there's the MAC. There's a lot of leagues that you could play in. But the Big Ten, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I watched, I spent all of fall watching the games and stuff. And it doesn't really sink in that, like, that'll be me in a year or so. But yeah, it's an really surreal thing to feel. And I don't know if it's set in or not yet. I don't even know. I'm really excited.
So, before we get into our bonus questions, like I said, you are not just a soccer player. You are a kicker on the varsity football team for Detroit Country Day. You are a track athlete as well. You finished in 4th in the state last year in the 100-meter dash, 12.26 seconds. You a 4-sport athlete. You play basketball, soccer, track, and football. Not many athletes that we speak to play that many sports. We will see you this upcoming summer in the UWS. Well, not UWS, in the new Super League as part of the Corktown WFC squad in Aaron Roy. So we'll see you this season for that. A phenomenal athlete in your own right, playing in 4 different sports and having success. So kudos to you to be able to do that and accomplish that while being at Country Day, which is one of the toughest schools, I think, in Michigan as far as education is concerned. You mentioned health and nutrition and fitness is something that's really important to you.
Yeah.
So these next 2 questions might contradict that whole thing.
Okay.
We'll find out. We always like to ask here on the network because we talk about food quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I always ask, what's your go-to meal? What is your favorite go-to meal? You got to have it. It's, it's one day a week. If it's a cheat day, I don't know, but what's your go-to meal?
Like a cheat day.
Well, it could be. I say favorite go-to meal. It could be a cheat day thing. It could be like, hey, I really like rice and beans. I'm not going to tell you what you like or what you don't, but I think everyone has their own take on it.
Probably, I really like salmon with just like white rice and hot sauce.
Okay. When you say hot sauce, like Frank's hot sauce,
Frank's
or
hot
you?
sauce specifically.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. All right. Salmon and rice. My wife loves salmon. She can probably eat it every time we go out. So it's really good. So, okay. So this one will probably totally contradict healthy. When I ask you what your favorite candy is.
Candy? Probably a Snickers, but I don't really like candy. I like desserts. Like I like cheesecake and cookies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has their own take on it, so
Mhm.
but we ask everybody, so which is good. Everyone has a different take on candy and sweets, so
Mhm.
it's really, really cool. I mean, Victoria, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I mean, just based on your resume and what you're doing, we're looking forward to seeing you create some havoc next year in the Big Ten at The Ohio State University.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by the Michigan Soccer Network. To not miss out on any of the action, all you have to do is simply hit the subscribe button, and that way you're notified every time we bring new content or go live. Thanks for stopping by.